Fresh Air Community Radio, KFAI 90.3 FM Minneapolis and 106.7 FM St. Paul. For the next 60 minutes, you'll be hearing the WAVE Project, KFAI's weekly community access hour. If you'd like to find out how you can produce your own one-hour radio program, check the KFAI website at kfai.org/waveproject. The views expressed on this program are solely those of the persons who express them and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Fresh Air's Incorporated Board of Directors, volunteers, or staff.
Welcome to Her Time, where we come together as women to talk about everyday women issues. Before we get started, I want you to know that you can continue the conversation at hertimewellness.com, and that's HERTIME wellness, WELLNESS.com. And so we can continue the discussion of body shaming. Her Time Wellness is where women come together in a form of sisterhood to discuss everyday issues and engage in colorful conversation on a variety of topics, including supporting relationships, reproductive disorder, college students, living with sickness and disability, and including other topics, for sure our topic today on body shaming. First of all, body shaming. It is just having a dissatisfaction with your body and shaming yourself or shaming somebody else so that you can downplay or uplift somebody in a negative way. We're going to ask for our listeners to call in at 612-341-0980 to join in the conversation. One thing is that over 91% of women struggle with negative body image, which is most often weight-related. 9 out of 10 women have resorted to dieting, while 1/3 of normal dieters with more into pathologic dieters. Unfortunately, diets can have up to 95% failure rate. 30 to 50% of eating disorders, patients suffer from depression or anxiety, and they end up in the emergency department. About 1 in 3 patients that end up in the emergency department suffer previously from OCD symptoms. 81% of 10-year-olds are afraid of being fat. About 1,000 women die each year from eating disorders due to malnutrition, heart attacks, and suicide. I have my guest host, Brittany Moreland, and we're going to continue our discussion. Welcome, Brittany.
Thanks for having me.
So, I like to start off with my story with body shaming. When I was young, I was very, very thin, and so I was teased for it, and I was called stick. And so it didn't make me feel good at all. I would cry. I was like, why am I not more curvature like my other cousins or like my sister? But then as I grew into this young girl's body, into a woman's body, guess what, Brittany? I felt the other side of body shaming, that now you are weighing too much. They would look at me in a negative way, saying that you put on a lot of weight, you are getting fat. And I had the two views of what body shaming is, when you're thin and when you put on weight. And then that lowered my self-esteem, and that made me want to work out harder, not for health, but to look good in my appearance. Not only for me, but for others, so that I won't have those negative derogatory remarks. Have you experienced any body shaming?
And it was more of, because you have other people body shaming, but I would body shame myself. As a kid, I was very shy and not confident, and I felt the only good thing about me was how skinny I was. And I had a person that I looked up to very much, big athletic, big runner, and the only thing that was different was that I was skinnier than her. And when she got smaller, I'm like, what am I good at now? So then I started body shaming myself to try to be that perfect person which I thought was, but it was getting me into an eating disorder.
See, many women could relate to our situation. And you know what? One thing that we have difficulties in doing is doing a comparison of who we supposed to look like. And the media and TV, magazines are doing this all the time. And so you're looking yourself in the eye view of somebody else in that mirror.
Yeah.
And how do you feel?
Well, I feel like with the comparison too with like social media, I feel like it shouldn't be focused on one body shape. Women were created in all different shapes and sizes, and we should learn to appreciate and support everybody's shape instead of just sticking to one stigma.
You know what? You are absolutely right, and that's how I feel as well. I think we are our worst enemy. It's our way of thinking. If we change the way we think about how we're supposed to look and focus more on health. I am a registered nurse, and I have taken care of women and men and children that are all different sizes and shapes. And sometimes, yes, your health is impacted based on the way that you take care of yourself. But not everyone who is overweight is unhealthy. But then those who are thin are not always healthy. I had taken care of all different shapes and sizes, and that is a misinterpretation that society and for us we put in our minds that if you're overweight, you're unhealthy. If you're thin, you're healthy. That is not true.
Is that just do it. Just do it. And you know what? I enjoy biking. I was running, but I really enjoy biking because that's me time. When you take time out for yourself, and it may be exercising, walking, whatever, painting, reading, dancing, take time for yourself because you deserve it. You need to refuel, and that will help set everything else in a positive way and balance.
I also feel, well, we'll take a short break and then I'll continue my thoughts. So, enjoy! Guys, we're back with Her Time. I'm here with Annette, and we're continuing our discussion on body shaming.
And don't forget to call us at KFAI at 612-341-0980 to join in the conversation on body shaming.
So what we were talking about now was how living a healthy lifestyle affects you and everyone around you. And I was just going to point out, too, that when you decide to live a healthy lifestyle, your activity changes. Instead of sitting at the TV, you go and text your friends, you go, hey, want to go for a walk? It's like, once you change that aspect of your life, it affects everyone around you because you're sending that positive energy.
And you know what? That is true, because you can be that example. And it's just a small step with a huge effect. And I totally agree with that. And you could just be that light, that little light that could start that candle. You just need one candle and just light one candle and you can pass that light on. And I totally agree. You know what? I wanted to share something with you too, Brittany. I know someone who is in a hot nursing home, and he wants to lose weight.
Yeah.
And this, even though this is a gentleman, but this goes back to with healthcare. He wants to lose weight. So when you're in a facility, they already provide you with more nutritious meals, and the portions are small anyways.
Yeah.
Well, the dietitian told him in order for him to lose weight, eat less. I'm like, okay. So what he's doing now, he's eating just one portion off of his plate.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't want the rest of the food because he's trying to lose weight. And then now he's
getting
skipping
into that
meals.
starvation mode.
Yes, and he's skipping meals. And that's why I wanted to mention that as women, what we see and hear, that has such a huge impact on us. That's why we just have to be careful what we put in our minds, what we read, each other, because even though this dietitian was making a suggestion, he took it to the extreme, and there's no follow-up. And so that is an example of just saying one thing that you think that is positive, or it could be negative out of anger or whatever you may say, and body shaming somebody, that it lasts longer than what was said. Because what you said probably lasts a few seconds, but it has a longer impact. You agree?
Oh, I do agree. I know certain things that people told me about body shaming and stuff, and even it was a relationship that I was in, and I was having an eating disorder at this time. I was 107 at 5'8", and he lifts me up and he goes, "You're really heavy today." And that was the body shaming with the relationship. I didn't eat anything that night because I'm like, because of that, now I don't look good for men. And I let that one guy define that. And, luckily now I'm with an amazing guy who loves me, who I am, and what I look like. But it's like, people get that in relationships too, body shaming. And it's just terrible. It's like, when you love someone, you're not supposed to judge them the way that society judges you. They're supposed to be on your side.
That is true.
Yeah.
And that's, and it could be, like you were saying, body shaming in a relationship. And then it causes that other person to feel unloved and unwanted. And then that person probably would feel, well, are you going to cheat on me? And then they're trying to live up to the expectations of somebody else. Just
not you.
Right. You are now living for that person, because I want to have this person love me and look at me not in disgust, but
And
look
it's
at
also
me.
like a toxic relationship too with body shaming, because it's also too, it's like, well, if he doesn't like me, what other guy is gonna like me the way I look? Because you're setting that negative mindset to it.
And if a guy is saying that to you, then
He's not worth it.
it's not worth it either.
No, there are more fish in the sea.
Right. You may have to go through some cars, but there are some real good fish there that you will end up connecting with. So, and that's just life. That is so true. There are going to be some carbs, but that's in life. There's a saying that I had, that you are the CEO of your life. You could terminate, promote, demote. You're the one that have the control to be able to do that. And sometimes we may need to, step back and see how a person is depositing into your life. Are they depositing good? Are they depositing bad? And if they are, you need to sit back and say, should I really invest into this relationship? If it's friendship, relationship, even with your relatives. I mean, you can love somebody and you can still love them from a distance, but love does not hurt. Love is uplifting and supporting. And so sometimes you need to look back and see how you are benefiting from this relationship. And if you feel as though you're not benefiting,
What's
being with that
stopping
person.
you from moving on?
Right. And in some cases, you may need to seek professional help. Because with eating disorders, and that's eating disorders, not only losing weight, being anorexic or bulimia, but eating disorder of gaining weight, overeating. There's times that you may need to seek professional help, because a lot of times there's something underlying is going on.
That's making you do those
right.
behaviors.
It's a mask of what really is going on, and make sure you seek that professional help and try to get that situation under control before it gets out of control and it can become life-threatening.
Because that's what I did. Is I realized one day that with my eating disorder I needed help, and it was something more that I needed help and I couldn't do it on myself or with my friends and family support. I needed that professional advice to guide me in the right directions. And I was thankful enough that my doctor literally said to my mom, because she's like, oh, it's in the Minneapolis area in a bad part of town, and it's like this top eating disorder clinic. And my doctor said, you know what, I'm up there, I will drive her, because that's how much she needs it. So for that professional doctor to not just be my doctor, but also to be my mentor and support, that's a key thing. So like when looking for professional advice, do a person that matches what you're looking for. Because I know a lot of times, like with me, when I'm seeking help from a therapist or something, and I'm not relating to that person, it's getting me nowhere, and it's lowering my self-esteem down. So it's making sure to find the time to find that right person and to not give up. There's someone there that will connect with you and help you with body shaming, eating disorder, relationships, anything. They will be your guideline in a way for you to succeed.
And you know what? That is so important. Having a right professional in place will give you better results.
Yeah.
And so we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with KFAI, Her Time. Thank you for joining us back to Her Time, where we're talking about body shaming. If you have any input and you want to join in the conversation, please call at 612-341-0980. So we were just talking about seeking professional advice and what you should look for. And I totally agree that you need to find someone that you are comfortable with.
And also you have to be ready to change, because I had this one therapist where I was just looking for a pity party for myself, and I came in, oh yeah, I'm doing good, and my mom's like, no, she's not, and I got really mad at my mom for saying that. But then the doctor said, well, I can't help you unless you want to help yourself, because you're the only one that can change you. I can give you tools and stuff, but you have to be the one to use those tools and to accept that. And that changed my whole life in successor, because it's like, no one else can make me happy. I have to make myself happy.
And that is true, because when you seek professional help, you're not going to get a professional that's going to tell you what you want to hear when you have a disorder. They're going to tell you what you don't want to hear, because you need to listen to that so that change can be made. And that's what you had to face. Mm-hmm. Even though you may not like it, it was a hard pill to swallow.
Oh, yeah.
But it was honesty. But I can't help you if you're not going to be honest.
But that helped me in the end. It was like, because I had other therapists that were like, oh, you can let her win in games. They weren't teaching me the life of what I had to live and how I had to become independent as a woman. And with getting that professional help and literally saying, hey, you can't have a pity party. You can't, we're not here to, give you that. We're here to help you and make you become the woman you want to be. And that's what I needed. I needed that, that aha moment, like, oh, that's me that I have to do.
Right.
So,
that is awesome, because it all falls back onto you.
mm-hmm.
And what you were saying about food,
Yeah.
and this is so true, when you have an eating disorder or you overeat, that's one thing you have to have is food.
Yeah, but one of my counselors said, with alcoholic, they want you to stay away from drinking. With smoking, they want you to stay away from cigarettes.
Drugs, stay away from drugs.
Any of that stuff. But they said, you can't get away from food. You have to have food to fuel your body. So it's not something that you can give up. You just have to learn how to do it healthily. Like for me, and everyone's different. That's the thing, because all women have different shapes, body, size, height, and that all comes to play in your eating. So for me personally, instead of looking at the calorie intake, because that was my calculators, they're like, scratch the 2,000 calories. What I want you to do is have 6 meals a day, and it's the 4-2 rule. So for the 4-2 rule, for breakfast, you would have 4 different food types. So you'd have your grain, your milk, dairy, fruit, and veggie. And then you would go on to your snack, which would be the 2 types. So then I would have a protein and a dairy product. And you do that with your 4 meals. And that was for me to gain weight. For me to maintain it, it would be a 4-1 rule for 6 meals a day.
Oh, I see.
And then another cool thing that they would always say, because I'm like, you always hear diet, 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 diet. This is a diet. They're like, don't think of it as a diet. Think of it as a guideline. because then you're not restricting yourself. Because that's a big thing for me personally with my eating disorder is I was restricting myself. I was dealing with seizures at the time that I felt like the only thing I could control was how I ate and how I looked. And I became obsessed with that in this restrict routine that I had exercise, every time I ate. I had to wake up at 11 o'clock at night and exercise for a full hour to make sure that I wouldn't gain a pound. So it's just like that part of it, learning that do it in a healthy way, and that will get you to your healthy lifestyle.
And one thing that you touched on, and that is when you have an eating disorder or you overeat, when you finally get that under control,
Yeah, there's setbacks because it
there
always
are
stays with
setbacks,
you.
but you always will be in recovery.
Yep.
Even though you had learned the tools and you implemented those tools,
You have to work
But
at it every day.
it's an everyday step because it's really, it's an addiction.
It is. It's definitely addiction. It's definitely what you said, Annette, where it's like you get to the final stage of the program where I graduated, the maintenance stage, which I feel is really important in an eating disorder clinic, is that you have your gaining or losing, but then you have your maintenance other than that. And with that maintenance stage, you can have relapse. That's all through life, that it's like something will set you back one step forward, two steps back, but it's using your guidelines that they gave you and that you can do to improve and make the setbacks less and less through life.
I think that is awesome, but I think that's why it's so important to have that support. And the not support of family and friends,
Yeah.
because they're important only if they're on the same page.
Yeah.
Because they could sabotage what you are trying to do.
And luckily I did have that support from the
See,
family where supported. They
wonderful.
were like, yep.
Wonderful, because that's an important piece, is having that support.
Completing
for
that whole
whoever that is.
circle.
Right.
You have your friends and family and the professional, and it's kind of like you have your own team backing you up. It's like when you're playing football, it's not just the quarterback or anything like that. It's the whole team and how they play.
And holding you accountable,
Yep.
which is very important. So I just think that what you went through and what other women went through is you are an example of how you can find different ways of controlling your situation, but at the same token, you're very aware
Yeah.
if you start having these negative
Triggers.
thoughts, these triggers, and how do I get myself back on?
Yeah.
So,
That's just kind of some of the things that I did to overcome body shaming. And another thing that I would do is before I try on 5 different clothes, and I'm like, well, I felt no good than the first one I tried on. And what they told me is that first thing you try on, if you like it, don't try on 5, because I will start like enhancing what I don't like. Like for me, I felt that my stomach was big, so my eyes go straight to my stomach in an outfit. So they're like, have that one outfit and you're done. And then another thing too, when they're like you're body shaming yourself, don't look at yourself in the mirror for 15, 20, half hour, minute, because the things that you see will start to blur and you won't see what you're really seeing. So they're like, if that mirror affects you, change not by a mirror. Like, if the mirror is your enemy, stay away from it, because until you can learn how to look at yourself in the mirror. And once you can, when you have that day where you're like, dang, I look good today, I'm going to wear what I'm going to wear, and don't let anyone stop you.
and celebrate that. I totally agree. And that's one thing what you have brought up, even though that was part of your disorder, but women do that all the time.
They do. Like, I would pinch my stomach, and it's just like, it's this mirror that it's like showing what you feel are your imperfections, but in all actually, you are flawless, and you work with what you got, and that's what women do.
Right, we pinch ourselves, we judge ourselves looking in the mirror and saying, this doesn't look right, or I don't like my abdomen, my hips, my thighs, my feet. We do all of that, but there are those, like in your situation, that took it even more
To the
further.
extreme.
But guess what? When you start off, but I'm sure you start off in the beginning
I
stage,
started, yep.
and it built up.
Yep, and then you find new ways. You look online and you're like, oh, this person is doing it this way, so this is how I can do it. So it's like you're getting all that negativity there.
So we just want to say how to overcome body shaming.
Yep. So for overcoming body shaming, if you want to see a female body shaming end in your life, you know, we must first provide body positive messages to girls and boys from early childhood. Then we must realize that we as an individual are the ones who will be the role models and examples of what self-love, acceptance, and confidence looks like in all our diverse shapes, colors, and stages of life, and that we have a responsibility to all women to do our part to end this type of judgation. When we push back against fictional images in media and those would have us believe our natural states and bodies are disgusting or wrong, we chip away at that structure that was built to limit us and take our rightful place as an equal, powerful, and essential half of humanity.
Remember, join www.hertimewellness.com to continue the discussion regarding to body shaming. Thank you for joining Her Time, right along with Annette and Brittany. And come back and join us again on KFAI 90.3.